The first round of the World Rally Championship, as ever, was held at Monte-Carlo. The famous rally, one of the most famous rallies anywhere in the world, started on the 24th of January this year and was to be held over 4 days, with 22 competitive stages during that time. The concentration run actually centred on Valence this year rather than on Monte-Carlo, so a slight change to the normal format. Last year's champion, Juha Kankkunen, the 4-time World Rally champion, setting the pace early on in the #1 Toyota. Carlos Sainz in his first year with the Subaru team and enjoying his first rally with the Impreza. Carlos Sainz has had a difficult year the year before, running with the outdated Lancia Integrale, and now expected to win again in the Subaru. Didier Auriol, the Frenchman, who came so close to taking the 1992 title but had it snatched away from him by Carlos Sainz in the very closing stages of that year's championship, back out once again for Toyota. In the Ford camp, Mickey Biasion, the former twice world champion at the end of the 80s when he was driving for Lancia, once again at the wheel of the Escort Cosworth. And for Mitsubishi, Armin Schwartz, the German driver, looking to try and get the Lancer up into the top 3 positions. Armin Schwartz actually fastest on the opening 2 stages of this year's Monte-Carlo, and that certainly bode well for the rest of the year. The second Ford being driven by the Frenchman, François Delecour, the mercurial Frenchman who took his first World Rally Championship win in 1993, and in fact had come so close to winning the Monte-Carlo on 2 previous occasions. Colin McRae, the British hope in this year's World Rally Championship, as Carlos Sainz's teammate. This year he certainly would be measured against some stiff opposition, with former world champion being in the team. Bruno Thierry, the third of the Works Ford Escorts present, and Thierry, to a certain extent in a learning year, having moved up from being the Formula 2 world champion of 1993. Evidence of just how hard Juha Kankkunen was trying on the early stages of the Monte-Carlo, but nonetheless this didn't affect him too much at this point in the rally. Kankkunen, the most successful driver in the World Rally Championship ever, with his 4 titles behind him, but even the best can be caught out on occasions. Into the night sections, and François Delecour certainly dominating the proceedings. He won all 5 stages on the second day of the event, and even when spectators were trying to catch some of the competitors out with moving snow around, Delecour was not to be held up in his attempts to keep the lead of the Monte-Carlo. Could this be third time lucky for Delecour, who'd come so close to winning the rally both in 1991 and in 1993? Behind him in second place, Juha Kankkunen. That damage certainly not having slowed him down too much and still holding on to that excellent second position. The car's running on slick tyres in the dry tarmac conditions, but obviously that making things look slightly difficult when they get onto the snow. Carlos Sainz was second at the end of the first day, but got passed by Juha Kankkunen. Sainz still adapting his technique to driving the Subaru. Mickey Biasion in the Ford, losing a little bit of power from his engine, and the thought was that the differentials were sapping the power a little bit from his Ford Escort Cosworth, and he wasn't able to maintain the same sort of pace as his young French teammate Delecour. For Bruno Thierry, the man getting used to Group A Escort Cosworth power, certainly adapting very quickly, and having a great battle with Kenneth Eriksson for 5th position. Well, problems for Colin McRae, who got caught out on the snow that was moved by spectators. He dropped 164th place, but managed to fight his way back up to 10th. Armin Schwartz also coming off on that same patch of snow. So Delecour finally taking the win on the Monte-Carlo, even after last-minute nerves and the last night. He won by over a minute from Kankkunen and Nicky Grist in second place. It was the first win for Ford on the Monte-Carlo for 41 years.